This is Jeff Mullen. He's the Undersecretary of Transportation and a man who knows a lot about the proposed regulations on police details. Mr. Mullen, could you explain what the administration is proposing concerning police details and flagmen?
What we're proposing to do is to promulgate a regulation that would set forth some guidelines as to when police details would be used and when road flaggers would be used on any job, any public works project in the Commonwealth that affects traffic on a public way.
What are some of the specifics of the regulations? On what projects, for example, could you use flagmen?
The projects that would be covered, first of all, the projects that would be covered would be work done by public entities. It doesn't affect local utilities, for example, National Grid, Boston Edison, etc. It affects works that's done by either the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in our case, Massachusetts Highway Department, a city and town, for example. And any time that they disturb traffic on a public way, these regulations would apply. In terms of when flaggers would be available for use, what we've done in response to a request from the legislature is to establish some tiers based upon roadway speed. So we've got high-speed roads and low-speed roads, with the dividing line being 45 miles an hour. If the road is 45 miles an hour and above the speed limit, we generally will call for police details, unless we're able to physically separate the work from the traffic. On a road that's lower than 45, that is 40 and below, because we don't have any roads that have speed limits of 43 miles per hour, for example, we would favor the use of flaggers, except in the cases where the traffic volumes or the design or the proximity to local hospitals or schools or high crime areas, for example, would call for the use of a detail. The design of the regulation is in response to a requirement that was put in Section 10 of Chapter 86 of the Acts of 2008 that was passed by the legislature in April. We began the work on April 17th, which was the date that the law became effective, and have worked with a number of different interest groups in promulgating the regulation, and have worked closely, as we've been required to do, with the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security.
So is it your belief, the Patrick administration's belief, that before the snow flies this year, we're going to see, for the first time in recent memory, and maybe for the first time in history, I don't know, flagmen out in construction sites in Massachusetts?
Yes.